So Metro Exodus was like, you know what, Steam? Nah, and they pulled the rug and they pulled the game off of Steam.
You know what, Steam? We'll bring Metro Exodus back when you give us Half-Life 3.
Dude, we all know Half-Life 3 isn't happening.
Don't you dare say that.
They've come out and said that. You know that, right?
Yes, I'm aware. But that doesn't mean it's not happening.
Yeah. Anyway, like so.
Anyway. 3, 2, 1. Oh God, I'm so nervous. Joe, I missed us. It's been too long. I can't do it. I can't do it.
All right, you want me to do it?
Yes, you do it.
Okay. Welcome back to another episode of Cup of Joe's. I'm your host, Joe Perry. Accompanied by, with me is my host and best friend, Joe Brown. How are you doing, Joe Brown?
Hey, Joe Perrian.
Stop acting nervous, Joe Brown. We're on the air.
I'm nervous. It's been too long, Joe.
Clear them pit stains, Joe Brown. We're here to talk about some news in video games.
It's been too long, my friend. What do you have you? I didn't even know you were alive.
You did know I was alive. You were supposed to come and visit me, but Dallas is too far away.
Yeah, little known fact, just because Dallas and Houston are in the same state doesn't mean that I can, when I'm in Dallas for the weekend, just head out to Houston. It was an ordeal.
Yeah, it was. Plus, you were gonna make me drive you to Dallas for 4.5 hour drive.
Just to save like $15 on my flight.
Yeah,
hey, I wisened up. All right, I decided that was not the best idea.
Yeah, you did, and then you didn't even tell me about it.
Oh well, because I assume no news is good news. All right, if I didn't tell you I was coming, then you would just assume I wasn't coming.
Well, I thought you were going to pull like the classic Joe Brown move and be like the day before, hey, so see you at the airport at 5, bye!
You know, that classic Joe Brown move where I just show up to an airport expecting you to pick me up. That's one of my go-tos.
No, the classic Joe Brown, give you all the information at the last minute.
Okay, that's fair. That's fair. All right. It's been a while.
It's been a while.
It's been too long, I would argue. One would argue. Many would argue. But
as they would say, it's been a while.
It's been a while. For everybody who is listening to this on future dates, thank you. Thanks for sticking with us through these trying times of trying to schedule our lives together. We're pretty opposite. And it's hard to get an hour together at some points. But
we got lives. We live.
We living out here.
We up in this piece.
So we're recording this on Monday night for anyone who's listening on Tuesday when this goes up or any other days in the future.
Why are we giving a timeline?
Because I'm going to say yesterday. We're going to talk about yesterday. And I think yesterday was objectively the worst day in human history.
No, we're not going to talk about this, are we?
Because my man, SpongeBob SquarePants, got shafted. Absolutely shafted by Roger Goodell and the National Football League.
Our boy did not get to play the halftime show.
Like, I was so furious watching that because even then I saw the news reports. They're like, the halftime show performance, they were practicing the day before and somebody saw Sweet Victory. It's confirmed. Sweet Victory at the Super Bowl. And then Adam Levine and Maroon 5 said it was going to be there and all this stuff. And everyone's freaking out like, oh my God, this is what happens when the internet comes together. We can achieve greatness. And I just knew in the back of my heart, I was like, this is the National Football League. They're going to find a way to screw it up. They get everything wrong. They half-ass everything, and they will find a way to ruin it. And by God, Joe, they couldn't have chose a worse way to include SpongeBob into that set.
Boy, howdy, did they screw it up.
Like, I was having a discussion. Do you think it would have been because all they did was have Squidward introduce Travis Scott, who, like, nobody even wanted Travis Scott. Like, so they were all upset because it was Travis Scott instead of Sweet Victory. Do you think it would have been better received if Squidward introduced Maroon 5? People still would have been mad, but it would have been better than if it was Travis Scott.
No, I don't think so.
Really?
I think people wanted the Bob, and we did not, and they didn't deliver.
I was furious. And then on top of it being the worst Super Bowl game ever, like the least interesting match I've ever seen.
Yeah, that's about right. Sounds about right.
It was just a sad day. I was so excited to be an American and celebrate my national holiday, which is the Super Bowl, the first Sunday of February every year.
Oh my gosh.
But I had ribs and I had some buffalo chicken wings, so that was a plus.
That's good. Where were you? What were your plans?
Well, I worked during the morning, and I literally got home as kickoff happened. Like, I entered the door as Tom Brady took the field, or whoever, I don't know, maybe the Rams had the ball first. Whoever had the ball first was starting their first play of first down. That's when I got into my house. So I hung out with my fam.
That's good.
What'd you do?
Had a little gathering at my place. Had some friends over. We just we balled out.
Nice.
We balled out.
As you do. As you do, Joe. I know you. You're quite the baller.
Wish was a little bit taller, man.
What a reference. What a throwback.
What a throwback.
What a day. Our Joes are back together, man.
Can't you feel it in the air?
Oh, man. All right. Let's get into our first story here. We got a lot of goodness for you here on this episode of Cup of Joes. I don't even remember the episode number because it's been so long. I think it's 39. I could be wrong. Could be 38, 39. I guess we'll find out. I mean, everyone listening will know the number, right?
Yeah. They'll get it. They'll get the number. They'll catch that number. Besides catching these hands.
Hey,
catch that number.
The number's not so important. What's important is that we're together again. Forever. I'm never leaving. Right. Okay, anyway, so Dragon Ball FighterZ, or as we would all prefer it, as we'd all prefer it to be called, as it should have been called, Dragon Ball FighterZ, but I digress. Dragon Ball FighterZ. And you know what? The Z is like capitalized and in its own section. Whatever, Joe. All right, I'm over it. I'm not over it.
Are you over it?
I'm not over it. It's a year later, and I'm not over it. But Dragon Ball FighterZ just finished its first season, very successful. Had its Dragon Ball World Tour final last weekend. I don't know if you happened to catch any of it, Joe, but no. It was very fun, very hype. Kazunoko was a Japanese player, and he ended up winning, and he won 4 of the 7 Dragon Ball starred events throughout the year. So, of course, he's the best player, and then he confirmed it. Whatever. Congratulations. That's not why everyone was watching that. Obviously, you want to see high-level Dragon Ball, players going at it back and forth. But the real reason we were there is we wanted to see who would be announced in Season 2 DLC. So, I'm watching with my brother, right? Because he's also a big fighting game fan. But he doesn't really go on the internet that much. Like, he's on the internet, but he doesn't go on, like, Twitter or, like, read news or anything. So, the day before, it had it had leaked because they were hyping up. They were going to announce DLC characters. That Jiren, who's the big baddie from the final boss of Dragon Ball Super in the anime, and Videl were going to be the 2 DLC characters announced. And then it also leaked that Broly and Gogeta from the new Dragon Ball Super movie were also going to be added.
Okay.
So, I did what I thought was the right thing to do, and I pretended that it didn't happen. I lied to him like the Easter Bunny. I let him for 2 days go on his wildest imaginations as we're watching of who he thinks, we could get this character, this guy could blah, blah, blah. Now, I don't know if that was the right thing to do or not.
Okay, so what you're basically telling me is that you're a horrible brother.
But am I? Because the excitement when he saw Jiren and Videl and Broly and Gogeta, he had, actual excitement that he saw these characters. If I had told him, then he wouldn't be as excited, right? Mm-hmm. But I still lied to him saying that, like, this is when I was in college, and my one friend who had read the books in Game of Thrones, and how we were all saying the characters who we thought we were going to win. And I was a big Robb Stark fan at the time. And you know what? He lied to my face in every conversation we had, saying it was a chance that Robb was going to win. And you know what? I respect that he did that, because when the Red Wedding happened, I had the actual shock of seeing it.
Yeah, you had the shock value of that scene.
And then the first thing I did was call him and say, I hate you forever, because he lied to me.
Would you have hated him more if he told you what actually happened?
Oh, 100%. Exactly.
Yeah. So then chicken dinner.
Chicken dinner. We're not talking about that game. We're talking about Dragon Ball FighterZ, Joe.
Mm-hmm. I got you. Okay.
Anyway. Okay, so we have... I just wanted to bring it up because I'm a big DBFZ fan. I think, I would...
You that Dragon Ball boy. I call you... When I talk to my friends, I'm like, yeah, I got a buddy named Joe Brown. He's my Dragon Ball boy.
Dragon Ball boy.
He's my Dragon Ball boy.
I would also recommend... I'd recommend seeing the new Dragon Ball Super movie about Broly. It was pretty fun. I went by myself, Joe.
Cool.
That's how I decided. I went by myself. One pillow. That Kevin Hart. One pillow. By myself. Seeing Broly in the theaters. No popcorn. Only water. That's what I did.
You gotta come down here, live in Houston, and we can go see the movies together.
That would be a nice solution. So, we have 4 of the 6 characters. They showed basically how they did it at the end of the tournament. They gave Kazunoko his badass trophy, which had like Shenron wrapped around like a trophy, and it was awesome. And then they showed the trailers for Jiren and Videl, and announced Broly and Gogeta, and they had like a line of 6 question marks, and then 4 of them were taken up by the characters. So that means we have 2 characters that are unannounced. Joe sent me something. I can't.
No, why are you breaking character? Keep talking.
Oh my god, that was hard for me. Okay, anyway. So we have 2 unannounced characters here.
Okay.
For season 2 of Dragon Ball FighterZ.
Yes.
Who do you think they're going to be, or who do you want them to be? Who do you want added to the game?
At this point, I'm so out of the loop with Dragon Ball Z, I have no idea.
Just give me a name.
I don't know, man.
You know who I want added? Who's the cliche oldest perv in anime history?
Master Yoshi?
Yoshi!
Master Roshi?
Master Yoshi!
Yo, Master Yoshi's my boy. I play him in Mario Kart. I play him in Mario Party.
Oh my god!
I messed up.
I'm just imagining Master Roshi like in Mario Kart. He's so like out of character in it, but he would still fit so well somehow. Oh my god!
Yeah. Exactly.
So good. But yeah, that's who I want too. I want Master Roshi, old man. He's also like super brolic. He takes his shirt off and becomes gigantic because he's like a wizard who's 300 years old or something. So I think he would be really fun. And then my other choice, everyone hates me. I want Kid Goku. We already have a million Gokus in this game, but I want Kid Goku from Dragon Ball, not the GT one. You know, where he was an adult turned into a kid. Like, I want, like, young Goku from Dragon Ball. I think that would be fun.
That would be fun, because you could turn into a big monkey.
Yeah, oh, yeah, that would be so cool. One of his super, he turned into the monkey. But no, that is probably not going to happen. Maybe down in the future. But I just wanted to throw some love to one of my favorite games I like watching on Twitch and everything. Oh, you want to hear something funny? So... They did like balance patching, right? They added and took away different things for season 2, like in a patch that when they dropped Videl and Jiren. And one of the things they changed was like basically people could do like like they would do these combos that would constantly keep keep people in loops in the corners forever, because you were able to generate enough meter in the attack for you to use that meter again to keep someone forced in the corner. I don't know if I'm explaining it very well to you, but like somebody would have to essentially limitlessly stay in the corner and correctly block forever until the person eventually got, the offense they were going for. Does that make sense?
Sure.
So like, let's say I'm Goku and I'm fighting Vegeta, and just throwing out random names. Goku could do this like continual combo of block strings that would keep Vegeta blocking forever, and he was able to generate enough meter to use those combos again to keep it happening for it. It was like a loop, right? So they did a lot of balance changing, and they did this thing where your level 3 super, so your best super, if you use that, I think after for a short while you can't, the amount of meter that you generate or bars that you generate is significantly decreased, so you're not constantly just keeping that loop going, right? Mm-hmm. But what they accidentally did was Frieza, who's considered one of the worst characters in the game. Golden Frieza?
No, but go ahead.
Okay.
Oh, yes.
So that's his level 3 where he becomes Golden Frieza. That's like his Super Saiyan, whatever form, and he has increased stats and speed and everything. So that costs 3 bars to transform into a stat. It's not the same thing as a regular level 3 attack. He's transforming. But it was an oversight by the developers, so that when he transformed into his like final perfect form, he got no meter at all, and it was just completely screwed over even more when he's already considered one of the worst characters in the game.
Jeez.
Yeah.
Poor Frieza.
Yeah. Poor Frieza.
First, my boy gets cut in half. Then he gets brought back from the dead in half Robot Man, and then he gets cut up again by a future boy. I don't know what to do. He's running out of options.
Running out of options. Now he gets no meter. So, but yeah, just wanted to talk quickly about DVFZ. We can move on to one of our next topics here, which we have a plethora of, I would say, Joe.
Yes, we do. Let's dive into this delicious bowl of topics that we have.
Ooh,
Brown, which one?
What's in the bowl?
What's in the bowl? I don't know, Joe Brown. When do you?
Is there like guacamole? Is there?
Oh, gross! What's wrong with you?
Pico de gallo.
I gotta go. Podcast is over.
We had a good break. Let's continue it.
Hey, we were doing great on the break, man. We did great. We had so many more listeners. We had the whole world listening to us doing absolutely nothing.
Yes.
Okay, so what we got? We're going to talk about some new games that came out. I know everybody who has listened to our podcast knows we're definitely talking about that one game that came out. Everybody knows what I'm talking about. What game is that? We're definitely going to be talking about a great game that came out this past week.
Oh, Resident Evil 2. Okay.
No, I'm not talking about that one.
I mean, well, we are going to talk about that one.
Yeah, we are going to talk about that one. We are talking about that one. It's going to be a good one. Are
you talking about Wargroove, the new indie game that plays like Advance Wars that just came out?
Yeah,
is that what we're talking about?
That's what we're talking about. We're going to talk about that one.
Oh, and we're not talking about Kingdom Hearts 3. Good call.
Yeah, instead we're actually going to be talking about PC Builder Simulator.
Did you know Goat Simulator is getting an esports scene?
I love it. Did you know that you could build a PC on a computer? Like, you could physically build a PC on a computer for a game, and you want to know how much it costs? $20. You can pay $20 to build a PC and then play a game on it. What is this world coming to?
That's the most meta thing I've ever seen.
Oh dear God! Okay, Joe Brown, you've waited how many years now?
Well, it's tough. Technically only 5, but in reality, like 13 years.
All right. You've waited.
So technically, when it was first announced, I remember, I'll never forget where I was, Joe. Thank you for asking. I was an orientation leader at our college, and it was during one of the days.
I didn't want to get into this, but okay. Continue.
And as, you know, I'm being a good worker. I'm not checking my phone. I'm engaging with the students and parents and everything like that. And it just starts going ballistic, my phone. from all my friends because they know I'm a huge Kingdom Hearts fan. And that week was also the week of E3 that year. And I see the trailer, and it was magical. And my heart has been broken ever since, waiting for delays and then, thinking it wasn't going to happen and all these issues. And then we finally got one last delay that pushed into January. And then it got delayed where Japan and Europe got it on the 25th, but North America got it on the 29th, which makes absolutely no sense. But I digress, Joe. On that day, I don't digress. I'm actually going to hold that against Square Enix for the rest of my life, actually.
I know you are.
It's literally unacceptable that it released 4 days later when it was already delayed anyway. So you might as well just release it worldwide. Whatever, Joe. We're getting off topic here, okay? So,
Thank you.
I get home from work. My brother was gracious enough while I was working at night. I got home at like 3 a.m. to pick up my copy for me from GameStop at the 9 p.m. release and load it onto the PS4. So that way, when I sat home right on the couch, chugged an energy drink, and stayed up playing Kingdom Hearts 3 all night long, like Lionel Richie, baby.
Your brother sounds like the greatest ever.
He's all right.
But it's not like you might have just kicked him out of the room to record a podcast.
No, that didn't happen. You know what? He can level up his World of Warcraft character whenever, okay? But when I need to talk to Joe, I need to talk to my friend Joe.
That's true. This is true.
So anyway,
all right. Anyway,
we get started, and it actually, like, I don't know. Have you played any Kingdom Hearts games, Joe? I forget at this point.
Yes.
1 and 2, and then you stopped, right?
I've dabbled.
Okay, that's what I thought. I want to make sure it was. So if you haven't played past 2, obviously you're screwed. You have no idea what's going on. Everyone thought the side games didn't matter. They absolutely matter. All the storylines basically come from the side games. So, but I will give credit where credit is due, and Kingdom Hearts 3 has probably one of the best tutorials I've ever played in a video game. So you start off in Olympus, where you're hanging out with your boy Hercules. Yensid sends Sora off to go get his powers back or whatever, because he lost them at the end of Dream Drop Distance, which is just like, video game mechanic ways of like, how Samus loses her powers at the beginning of every Metroid game and has to re-get them again. Like, even though it makes no sense thematically why you start the next game without any of the powers that you just collected throughout the last game, but every video game does that in sequels.
Yes.
Making sense to you?
Yes.
Right.
Joe Brown, you are acting like I've never played a video game ever. Like, you've acted like I haven't played Dead Space 2 or Dead Space 3 or Dead Space 1 or any of the Dead Spaces.
Well, I know you played Resident Evil 2 because I talked to you while you were playing it.
Yeah, I played that, but that doesn't have the same thing where you have to gain all your abilities back. Like, but I've played video games, Joe Brown.
Okay,
I've
cool. So
I thought you had more respect for me.
Yensid sends you off to Hercules to go get strong, because Hercules is swole, obviously. And how they introduced, when they go like seamless from cutscenes to gameplay, kind of in like that Uncharted 4 style, you know what I mean? Where like you transition straight from a cutscene and the camera turns around and then bam, you're in gameplay. No loading screen, no anything like that. And so that's how, the cutscenes start. You're hanging out with Herc and all that. And it seamlessly goes into those battles, and then each type of battle tells you a different mechanic about the game. Like, this one's just how to mash X. This one is how to use your spells. This one is how to like use like the wave dashing whatever thing. I forget what it's called. Like where you jump off of lampposts and gain momentum and things. And they integrate it little by little, because there's a lot of mechanics in this game. Like, it had been so long.
How many mechanics?
That's the thing. I'm gonna say too many. There's too many mechanics in the game. Like, it is probably way too cumbersome for a newcomer. Like, for me to honestly recommend playing Kingdom Hearts 3, because thankfully I had learned, like, they introduced this in Birth by Sleep, they introduced this in Dream Drop Distance, they had this in this game. Like, I had been familiarized with it, so I was ready to implement all those mechanics together. But, like, if I was brand new to the series, I would have been so confused on how to do all these combat mechanics. But I think they did do it in a very seamless way in the tutorial. So I do give them credit there.
Yes. Credit where credit is due.
Right. The saddest part, though, and this isn't a spoiler at all. Like, we're doing spoiler free. We're not. Maybe we'll have in a future week. We'll have some friends come on and we'll do a spoiler filled episode about Kingdom Hearts 3. But for now, spoiler free. I will say Danny DeVito is not in this game as Phil in Hercules.
I have heard.
And literally, there's a part where, like, Hercules turns and he's like, Phil, go with Meg. And then he just looks, and I'm like, oh my god, yes, we're going to have Danny DeVito. He's going to say anything, and I'm going to love it. And he just nods and walks away like a lifeless character.
Yeah, I know. I was confused why they didn't get how my boy Danny, he's always down for time.
He couldn't take one day to go to the studio and be like, you got it, Herc, and then leave and collect a check?
Yeah, exactly.
I was so bad. But so the whole first world, all of Olympus is a tutorial, and it gets up to a boss battle, and it's pretty cool, and it sets up the whole world. And then you see Kingdom Hearts 3. That wasn't even the game, Joe. That was Kingdom Hearts 2.9. That wasn't even in the game. The first world of the game. How sick is that?
So dope.
So dope. You're just so excited for it.
It's the dopest.
Alright, so I will say the combat is always like, it is as complex or simple as you want it to be. So you can, if you want, just mash X and hit everything. Or you can do like the cool counters where you block and then do an attack and do different spells and use your limits and link battles and specials and all these things. So it's very varied. If you're like a younger player, maybe 12 or 13 years old, you can just button mash everything. But if you're more an advanced veteran like myself, you can set up different attacks and things. But one gripe I do have with the gameplay is that special moves no longer feel special. Now let me explain.
I heard because there's a ton of them.
There's like 80 million of them. So every Keyblade has different form transformations. So if you have just the basic Keyblade, you do this like attack, and then it transforms into something else, and now it's either faster or it has a different, combo ender or whatever. And then if you build that meter up in time, you get the second version of it that does like a special, stun attack or whatever. And that's every Keyblade. And there's a bunch of Keyblades in this game, and they all do like kind of different things, but all fill out the same archetype. Like one of the Keyblades is like a ranged attacking one where you can hold the R1 button and you can shoot in a third person way where you can shoot different heartless. And you're like, okay, this is cool. And then there's a Keyblade later on that is the literal exact same attack where you just hold R1 and you can shoot enemies with it.
Wait a minute.
Yeah?
They gave Sora a gun in this one?
Well, it's like magical damage. It's not like a gun.
Wait! They give Sora a gun in this one?
Hey, man. We waited so long, alright? They better give us that gun. They give him two guns, actually, because he breaks the weapon apart. It's like... But it shoots magical bubbles and stuff.
Alright.
That's why it's E plus 10 and not T for teen.
E plus 10. T for teen.
Do you imagine an M-rated Kingdom Hearts?
Yeah, that'd be crazy.
Alright, anyway, so how the things come up very, very similar to how if you played Birth by Sleep, those special attack commands came up and those abilities that you had, but you didn't have to work up for them. Like, so if you used like fire a lot, like you cast a spell fire like 4 times, and then you built up your gauge to transfer forms, it would do like a super powered like Faraga on the opponent. You know what I mean? So if you did that with thunder or water, like it would. But if you just did swings, it would build up your swings attack. But also, Donald and Goofy have their own special supers. And then there's the form transformations on each and every freaking Keyblade. And then you have transformation, or you have special attacks with the Disney characters in each world. And they like stack on top of each other. And they all have time limits to them. So you have these Disney theme parks animations. So you got like a merry-go-round, or like Splash Mountain, or teacups, mad teacups spinning and things, and they all stack on top of each other, but the timers don't stop. So if I have my Keyblades transformation, I have like 30 seconds to use it. And then if the merry-go-round transformation is going to come up, or it has come activated, well, that timer has 30 seconds to use now. You get what I mean? And it doesn't stop. It doesn't stack. So they stack on top of each other, but they're not like implemented so you're supposed to use them one after the other, like time-wise. So it just becomes like a cluttered mess of like your bottom left corner has like 4 transformations all with different timers on them, and now Donald wants to get in on the action and do an AoE attack. Like it's way too much, and it makes it so these cool things like one of my favorite Keyblades was the Frozen Keyblade. And like it has this really cool animation, but after seeing it 97 times, it's not as cool. It doesn't feel as earned. It doesn't feel like this is a level 2 attack that like is supposed to be like a big deal. It just feels like basic.
Yeah. Okay, I get it.
So that's like one of the issues I had with the combat was like special attacks don't feel special anymore, and like that kind of So, because it's not like the game is hard. It's not harder than any of the other games. I think I only died 2 or 3 times in total in the whole game. So, like, it's not like we needed those additional steps to make it more accessible or easier, because you're still able to beat the game without hitting triangle the whole time. So let's say, what else would you like to know about the game? Spoiler free.
I don't know. I don't want to know anything else more about the game because I'm going to play the game.
Oh, you are going to play the game?
I told you I was going to play the game.
I know, but like you should probably watch some refreshers online.
I should probably just have you come to visit. We can play together and beat it in a weekend, right?
Well, it took me 28 hours to beat, so
that's a weekend. We can do it.
We could do it. All right, let's see the Disney worlds, right? I think it was 9 Disney worlds in total. It was either 8 or 9, depending on whatever. Regardless, I would say Tangled or Corona was probably my favorite Disney World that we had this time around. I also really did enjoy the Frozen world. I know that's like a hot topic, whatever hot take to have to enjoy Frozen in this current
first off
thing, because everyone likes to bag on Frozen for no reason, even though it's a timeless classic.
Wait a minute, Joe Brown.
It is a timeless classic.
A minute. Hold on a minute.
Okay.
Weren't you dunking on it?
Frozen?
Yeah, no.
I saw it twice in theaters. I love Frozen.
No, you were like, oh, they put Frozen in the game. I don't know about that.
That was before we... Wait. No. I definitely did not say no to Frozen after we saw Tangled. My point... And because we saw Toy Story 2. My point had always been, I wish that they kept Kingdom Hearts 3... up through Kingdom Hearts 3 to classic Walt Disney Studios animations before adding Pixar and modern Disney movies. That was always my point of contention. But then when we had Toy Story and Frozen and Tangled and Wreck-It Ralph is a character in the game, like then I had to give up. I had to stop dying on that hill because it didn't matter anymore. I always wanted it from Kingdom Hearts 3 up to then to just be classic, which obviously doesn't work anyway because it had Pirates of the Caribbean in the second, which I hated. But I didn't want the new ones. I wanted the new stories to be in a new arc in Kingdom Hearts 4 and onward. I did not hate Frozen. I didn't hate the idea of Frozen because I love Frozen. I think it's a great movie, and everyone just hates on it because it's good.
All right.
Cleared the record?
Right. Cleared the record.
Okay.
By the way, Joe Brown, I want to make the record even more clear.
Mm-hmm.
We saw that movie together.
Yes, we did. That was a great day.
The best part of us seeing that movie together was when the twist happened. The twist. Do you remember the twist?
Oh, I remember. I'll never forget the twist.
Yeah, never forget the twist. And then the lady behind us in the theater just goes, mm-hmm.
I do remember that. I knew it. I was like, oh, you guessed it. You guessed it.
She had it the whole time. And in the meantime, me and Joe Brown are like, oh my God, what happened? How can he do this to
How
our
can you do this?
girl?
Well, I mean, I was just faking it because I had already seen it the first time when I saw it the second time. So.
I thought that was the first time you saw it.
No, I saw it with my my communication buddies first time. And then the whole ride home from the movies, we were just playing Let It Go on Spotify.
I'm telling Brandy.
No, don't tell her.
I'm gonna tell her.
Okay. Anyway, if you're listening, Brandy, hi, we love you.
Right.
Okay. So my real.
Tell me about Kingdom Hearts.
Right. Let's get this moving here.
Like,
so,
should I lay down? Like, is this like you're gonna talk about Kingdom Hearts for a while? Should I like go lay down?
No. I'll try to keep it moving. I'll try to keep a brisk pace.
All right, you got 5 minutes left on Kingdom Hearts, then we move.
Oh,
on.
That's so unfair. Okay.
I'll give you a little more.
Okay, so the worlds, I think this were the least likable Disney worlds they've ever put into a game, where they impacted the story the least amount, and they were the least amount of fun that they've ever been. Now, this isn't a word, but the way I've been explaining it with my friends is the appeal to Kingdom Hearts on a base level is how Sora, Donald, and Goofy go into Disney worlds and Disney movies and Kingdom Hearts-ify the story. I know that's not a word, but let me explain. So even though Atlantica sucked in the first game, when you're playing The Little Mermaid, you play through that story, and the movie still plays out the exact same way, but it is impacted based off the decisions and the bonds that Sora, Donald, and Goofy make with the cast of characters in those worlds. Does that make sense? In Kingdom Hearts...
Why are you asking if it makes sense? You know it makes sense to me. I got you, bro.
No, I'm talking to the audience as well. We have listeners in this conversation. They're probably, forming their own opinions as we speak right now. So that's why I'm asking questions. I'm being rhetorical at it. Now, Kingdom Hearts 3. Obviously, not going into spoilers. Many of the worlds have either already had their stories completed and you're joining afterwards. I'm not going to say which ones. Or have stories that are completely unrelated where their actual movie is not happening. Like you're joining an alternate story. Like, so I'll say it for Toy Story because it's not a spoiler. Like you don't have the world, you don't go through the movie of Toy Story. You're not hiding in a chest box when Andy comes in or anything like that. There is no story of Toy Story. It's all original content. So there's a lot of worlds that are like that, where you're either joining after the movie has already been completed, which is useless because the fun of it is watching Sora and them go through the thing, or the stories that they actually are involved in are not really important to the movie. Like, I like the Frozen world for the aesthetic, and they made this, like, they had a lot of cool, like, mazes and side mini games and things that you could do in the Frozen world, but Sora does not impact that story one lick. He meets Elsa. He forms a relationship with her. He meets Anna and Olaf and and Sven and Kristoff and all of them. But he doesn't actually change their minds. There isn't like a moment, like he doesn't have a moment where he tells like Elsa about the power of friendship and loving her sister or anything like that, where he would in previous Kingdom Hearts games. You know what I mean? Like, so that she has that realization, and at the end she can be like, "Thanks, Sora." Like, that always happens in the old Disney worlds. Like, they come to the ending, like with Aladdin or with, Little Mermaid or Hercules or any of them, and then it's because of the actions of Sora and the gang that's how we get from A to B. And that does not happen in most of the worlds in this game, except for Tangled and kind of Pirates of the Caribbean. But it's based off the third movie, and it kind of plays like off its weird own thing, whatever. So I'll say, besides Tangled, which is why it's my favorite in the game, that is the only one that actually plays like a Kingdom Hearts world.
Okay.
And the story, the Organization 13 aspect of it is like it's phoned in some of those worlds. Like, it's non-existent. Like, they have an organization member pop up, as they always do, pop in and out, conveniently for the story, which is fine. But, like, you don't have a boss fight against an organization member in, Toy Story Land or something like that. Like, you don't, like, they literally just pop up, spew some line about darkness, and Sora tries to attack them as they leave through, like, the dark portal. Like, they don't impact any of the worlds at all, except for, like, snapping their fingers, and now there's Heartless that you have to destroy. Like, so I was unbelievably disappointed in the Disney worlds this time around in Kingdom Hearts.
Yeah, okay, I get it.
I'm sad to say. Now, this is a very, like, divisive game for me because I am so torn because I loved playing it, and even when I was disappointed when, like I think the Toy Story world was just, like, actually bad. The other ones were okay, even though you didn't impact the story. Like, I think the Toy Story world was actually unfun for me to play. The other ones were fine, though. But, like, so I'm torn because I loved playing the game and I had so much fun and I loved the cutscenes and I loved the convoluted mess that is Kingdom Hearts. But there were just, like, so many negatives with, like, too many specials going off at once. The story's not really impacting. And then, like, it does feel kind of rushed at the end. Like, not explaining anything. But, like, the climax is amazing. It's like a 5-hour climax. Like, it is not just, like, you get to one last fight and 20 minutes later you're done with the game. Like, it ramps up. But like, just to get to that point, you got through what felt like filler for what we were actually wanting to play. Like, we wanted to see how the organization and Sora were going to square off at the end. And the rest of it, because the organization was so poorly integrated into the Disney worlds, in my opinion, of course, it felt like filler waiting 20, 22, 23 hours in to finally get to what we wanted.
Yeah, okay.
So, but then that last 5 hours was awesome. It was like, it was some of the most fun, like, Kingdom Hearts dramatic stuff I've ever seen. And then, like, but then after that, you go and look back and you talk with your friends, and they created so many plot holes that weren't there before, considering there's already a million plot holes in the series, which is a sight, which is astonishing to say on its own. Like, that we wanted them to wrap up this story so that the Xehanort saga was over and we can move on, and it doesn't really wrap it up very well, in my opinion. It kind of tries to tie loose ends together and give everybody a happy ending and give them, like, little nods to the fan bases of just like some of the people they bring back and stuff. Just, it's pure fan service. Like, it didn't make sense thematically why those characters were chosen. Some members of the organization are not really important, while others are, but they should all be equally spread. Like, it's just kind of a mess, and I wonder what happened in these last 5 years. I know Nomura and Square were making Final Fantasy 15 too, so they were, like, had their time and whatever abilities spread thin between the two games. But, like, I'm just so torn because it was so much fun for me to play, but it absolutely could have been better. And I don't know, like, it's just frustrating.
I can see that. I can understand why you're frustrated.
And you see how freaking passionate I am about this topic. Like, it's just, like, I feel disappointed because the end of the game and the epilogue, like, it just sets up the next game, which is fine. That's what, you're always trying to do, especially in Kingdom Hearts. They're always setting up the next thing. But we wanted it to end this story. And there is an ending, but it really isn't, like, it's not like, really, it's not Sora saves the day and they all hang out. You know what I mean? It's like the moment you watch the epilogue and then the secret movie, you're like, okay, well, now I'm excited for Kingdom Hearts 4, which is not what I wanted. I wanted Kingdom Hearts 3 to be good enough on its own that I didn't have to wait, already start my hype train for Kingdom Hearts 4.
Yeah, I got you. It's all right, man.
I will say, though, my favorite Keyblade to use was the Winnie the Pooh 100 Acre Woods Keyblade that you get. So it was one of those it was one of the gun Keyblades where you could shoot from a distance, and it was a fine Keyblade. Like, it wasn't bad, but it definitely wasn't, like, gameplay wise one of my favorites. But what I would do is throughout, like, all boss fights and things, I would use the effective Keyblades that I did like the Tangled Keyblade and the Toy Story or Monsters Inc. Keyblades. And then right before I killed the bosses, I would switch to the Winnie the Pooh Keyblade just so that Keyblade would be in the cutscenes because it looked hilariously stupid.
Oh, that's why you liked it, because it was dumb looking.
Yeah, it was just like a bunch of pots of honey, like put together in the shape of a keyblade, and it had like a little poo keychain on it. Like it just looked so dumb that I was like, every cutscene, I have to make sure I have this keyblade when he's doing like serious things, or like I'd have the frozen keyblade out. And like he's fighting someone, and like this giant ice pick, it comes on screen and ruins all the dramatic tension of the scene. Like it's just, that was some of my favorite moments to have in the game.
Kind of like in Spider-Man when you would have those weird costume, the weird costume on.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. All
right. So we'll have another discussion in the future, in a future episode where we go into spoilers, I guess. Well, Joe, wait, how are we going to do that? You haven't played the game yet.
You can just we'll just talk about it.
Okay.
We will talk about it.
So what other popular game came out within the last couple weeks?
You went on your Crazy Town USA drive down Kingdom Hearts lane. It's time for us to take a right turn down Resident Evil 2 Remake lane.
Woo!
That's right. That's right. A game we've been waiting 2 years for, and it finally came out. And let me tell you, that game is beautiful. I was watching some of the old gameplay from the original, and compared to now, there are a few differences in them, but man, are the differences like a plus for the new one. It makes the game a little bit different. Plus, like the whole thing being third person, and your shot like shooting now is a little bit more integrated, and it's more like precise than it used to be. Like we're not working with the tank controls anymore. We're working with over the shoulder shooting. We now have to put up our own boards over the windows so zombies don't break into the police station. Man, we got a lot going on in this game. A lot's changed. Puzzles are different. Not like I thought I was gonna be able to like kind of walk through it again, like remember some of the old stuff. We got some different things. We got some different places to go. But overall, I loved it. It was a great game. I had so much fun playing it. I spooked myself a lot, like a whole lot. Like the minute Mr. X, as the community refers to him as, or Tyrant, starts chasing you, I was like, nope. I saw it happen. I was playing it. I think, what was it? I was playing it Saturday. I didn't know. I could not remember in the Leon walkthrough. I didn't think Mr. X showed up. I only thought it was in the Claire one. I did not remember him showing up. But man, I doused that helicopter and I went back into the room because I could finally go across that area that's got the helicopter in it. And who's waiting on the other side? I don't even get to the helicopter. First off, I see a pair of feet underneath the helicopter, and then a very large gentleman lifts up the helicopter and then starts stomping after me. I ran out of that room and ran directly into a safe room. I was like, nope, save game, turning this off. I'm done. I'm done playing for the rest of the day. Nope, not dealing with Mr. X. Not doing it. But I did, before I ran away, I did shoot his fedora off of his head. I got that achievement. That is an achievement you can get in the game.
I like that they put that achievement in there.
Yeah, there's an achievement for doing that. But yeah, he can't be killed until the end of the game for Leon, because he is the final boss fight in Leon's playthrough. But yeah, it's like, what should we talk about? Like the gun, the graphics are amazing on it. Even on me playing on the Xbox One, it was beautiful. It looked great.
Did it look better than Resident Evil 7, even though it's not in first person?
It looked just as good because they used the
right. They used the same engine. That's why I'm asking. Like, which one? I guess felt better.
Well, I don't know, because like I feel like I can't really compare them. It's like Resident Evil 7 was like the breath back into Resident Evil. Like they came out with that trash game that we don't like to talk about, and everybody was like, that's it, Resident Evil done goofed themselves real bad this time. They're not coming back. Nothing's gonna be good again. Like the Revelation games are gonna be good, but like there's not going to be a mainline story in the series anymore because they goofed it up real bad. And then Resident Evil 7 came in, and it was like the creators of Resident Evil were just like doing like the chest compressions, trying to get it. They're like, live, here's this air, first person, and then we got back. But I don't know. It's hard to tell the difference. Like, it's hard to compare the two. Like, it's easy to tell the difference between two. But like, they both looked great and they both felt different, even though they used the same engine. You know what I mean?
I feel you.
Because
they're accomplishing different things.
Yeah, and in Resident Evil 7, they mainly were using it to be like, look how gross this house is. Look how grotesque everything in this house is, and like these people and like all these things. While in Resident Evil 2, it was like, look how realistic this zombie looks. Like, look at these characters that we've created, and look how great they look in this setting. And it was just like, it was great. Like, I can't get over how good it was. Like, I loved it.
That's awesome.
I played it through. I did both Leon and Claire. Now I got to go back and play Claire and then Leon. Like,
wait, why do you have to do that?
Because they're different. So if you play through Claire, like, so I played through Leon's, which took me about 8.5 hours for my first run through of it, because I wanted to like kind of experience everything that I could. While still rushing through it because I was terrified. So then you do that, and then after you beat the game as Leon, you then go back and you have like the second go through as Claire. So you go back through the game playing as Claire, but this time it's kind of a little bit shorter. Like Leon, when you play as Leon, you meet up with Claire again randomly where she's behind a gate, like maybe a third of the way through the game. And in Claire's walkthrough, as like the second run, you pick up when Leon and Claire meet up. You know what I mean?
Oh, so you skip like a chunk of it.
a good chunk of the game, like a good chunk of the beginning of the game, but you still kind of have to like do a bunch of stuff that's like from the beginning of the game. But it works. Like, it's different. So like Leon has his own path and Claire has her own path. Like, Leon meets up with Ada, Claire meets up with Sherry. Like, they end up having like two different experiences in this like on this like simultaneous run through the police station. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So like, there's two different things happening. Like, Leon fights different bosses and Claire fights different bosses. Like, Claire doesn't fight Tyrant, but Tyrant does chase Claire for a little less amount of time. But Leon fights Tyrant at the end, and Claire fights a different character at the end. So, you know,
that makes sense. I just like, I didn't know, because I had heard that like the changes were like kind of minuscule, so I didn't know if it was necessary to do a whole complete new run of each story in the opposite order.
Well, it gives you like the like a ranking system of that. So it's like, oh, Leon A, Claire B, and then they have Claire A, Leon. So they want you to do it.
Oh, okay.
And then they give you like stats after you did it. So I was looking for all the upgrades for the weapons while I was doing it. I was like trying to get all the stuff that I could, but like sometimes I just was like, I'm not going back down ever again. There's no way I'm coming back. Wasn't able to put enough boards up. Zombies are in this hallway. They're just going to keep on coming. There's a liquor in here too. I'm not dealing with it. Not coming back. Making sure I got everything out of there before I leave. Done. Bye. I was like, nope. But yeah, it was. I kind of don't want to give like too much away with it because it's still a little different. But man, I spooked myself. I beat Leon's thing over one weekend, and then I beat Claire's thing on a Saturday. Next Saturday. So I did that. And you know, your boy got the collector's edition. I got that statue of Leon Kennedy sitting on my shelf right now. He looking pretty.
Ooh. He is a handsome man.
He is a handsome man. Also, you unlock, like, when you beat the game through. So, like, another reason to beat the game more is to unlock, like, the different survivors you can play, like, as spin-offs. So, there's one thing you can play called the Fourth Survivor. where you play one of the special agents trying to obtain the G virus from Dr. Burke. And then you can also play as Hunk, which I think is one of the funnier things in the game. They kept it from the original because you can do it in the original game too, where, you know, like, you're Leon Kennedy, you're running around, zombies are trying to eat you. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I know.
They're trying to get at you. Now, when you play the Hunk version, you play through the entire game, but you play as a large block of tofu. So zombies go to eat you, but it just looks like they're trying to eat some tofu. And the other great part about it is when you get bitten, chunks start going missing. So you start like becoming smaller. So it's pretty fun. Like Capcom, they know what they're doing. They got it under control. So it's already leaked. Resident Evil 3 is getting a remake.
Oh, it is. I was gonna ask if they were gonna do that or skip right to 4.
I heard that it leaked. I did not get a confirmation on it. Let me look.
Okay.
Looking it up real quick, but I did see something about it.
Because that is what I wonder. Because doesn't everyone say Resident Evil 4 is the best Resident Evil ever made?
Yes, they do.
So I was like, I'd never hear anyone talk about 3. So I'm like, maybe they'll just skip right to 4 as a remake.
No. They'll definitely do. Yeah, it looks like that they're definitely remaking it.
And now, like, is it going to take a while? Because, I mean, this one took 2 years to make. You know?
Capcom says Nemesis will be remade if fans demand it. Capcom has been busy making Resident Evil 2 remake, but now it's here. Could a remake of Resident Evil 3 Nemesis also be in the cards? There's no doubt the Resident Evil franchise were ready for the remake of the horror survival game, but it seems like the demand for the horror survival games could lead to the remake of Resident Evil 3 Nemesis as well. Ever since it was confirmed that Resident Evil 2 was being remade by Capcom, there have obviously been rumors circulating that Capcom would also release Resident Evil 3 once the dust has settled. The Resident Evil Twitter account shared an image of Nemesis from the game, which resulted in fans speculating that it might be teased in for an upcoming game. Although this is obviously mere speculation, however, now fans are almost certain Resident Evil 3 Nemesis is in the cards after a recent interview with the Resident Evil 2 remake producer. I can't pronounce that name, which all but confirmed the game will be made at some stage in the future. So they did post. It looks like they posted this.
Well, that's good, right?
Yeah, they posted this picture of Nemesis. I'm showing Joe Brown the picture of Nemesis that they remade. They posted this picture of him. So that's a remade. That's like a better looking.
Right, new art and everything.
Yeah, so it might be happening. We might be rolling down with Resident Evil 3 might be down the pipeline, which I'm all about. I'm cool with it.
Now, did you play Resident Evil games as a kid? So was there any sense of nostalgia for you?
Yes, I played Resident Evil 1 and I played Resident Evil 2. Me and my cousin played Resident Evil 3 together, but he mainly played it and I watched.
You just got scared. That was your job.
I was just spooked. But I did play Resident Evil 1 and Resident Evil 2. Also with my cousin, but I actually played them. So yeah, I did play them as a kid. I did play 4. I played Resident Evil 0. That'd be a cool remake to make. I played Resident Evil 5, Resident Evil 6, Resident Evil 7, now Resident Evil 2 again. I'm back at it. Back at it again with the white vans.
Damn, Joe Perrion.
Damn, Joe Perrion.
All right, then last question I have, because some people are saying this is the scariest Resident Evil they've ever played. Is this scarier than Resident Evil 7?
It has its moments. Resident Evil 7 had its moment. Like, this game... Okay, so from what they had to do with the first one is, like, the first one had those, like, fixed camera angles, you know?
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, what made...
What are you asking me for? I have played video games before, Joe.
But you haven't played Resident Evil.
I know. I'm just flipping it back on you.
Yeah. Okay. So, um, so what they were able to do with those fixed camera angles was give you more of a jump scare. So like you'd be running down a hallway and you could the rest of the hallway, and then you'd get to a certain point and they would click over to another camera angle, and like three things would jump out at you. They were able to time things to start moving because the camera changed.
Mm-hmm.
Well, in this game, you could like peer around corners. You could look like behind you. Like so, it was hard. They like in an interview and like a video I saw. It's harder. It was harder to scare you in this game than it was in the original. So what they had to put it up. They had to like put that dial on 11 and make it scarier, and they did. They did it with atmosphere. They did it with sounds. Like you can hear the tyrant person chasing after you in almost any part of the police station. Like you can hear him coming 4 rooms away.
Ooh.
So like it first gives you an indication of he's coming near you. There's a sound change in when he actually enters the room or area that you're in. The way he walks sounds different, so that makes it scarier. And the fact that you can't really, they make you turn the darkness and the brightness adjustment, like the adjustments, like down a lot. So like when you're using your flashlight, you literally only see what's in your flashlight. Like it's hard to see anywhere else. They had zombies breaking through random windows, like randomly. It wasn't like when I would die and I would come back through that area after I would die, it would be different from when it was the first time. Like I would expect it to happen and it wouldn't happen. So like that was something that added some like fright to the game. And just like you felt like once Tyrant starts chasing you through the police station, you feel like you're kind of pressed for time because now something's hunting you and it always finds where you are. It does not stop coming after you. It always finds where you are. So, yes, it was terrifying. But it's hard to compare. Like I said, it's hard to compare it to Resident Evil 7 because Resident Evil 7 was a first-person shooter game and it has like its own ways of making it scary for you because number one, it's in first person, and it's just got a different feel. But they were both terrifying games. So
all right, that's fine. I mean, that's what they're going for. I'm happy that you got to experience this because you were very excited about this one. You like getting spooked.
Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. It took me like I had to stop playing it a few times. My heart. And then last Saturday when I was playing it, like my air conditioner unit outside my apartment building was being super loud, and like people were hanging outside my apartment door for some reason, and like I was near the end of the game in the laboratory setting, and I was scared. I was like, I don't know what's going on. I opened my door to make sure no one was out there. Like,
you think the tyrant was chasing you in real life?
I was scared. I was scared.
Remember one of the first memories of our friendship, Joe?
Playing BioShock Infinite in my...
Well, yes, but it was that same weekend because we were trapped in. We were snowed in.
We played Outlast.
You played as I tried to hide under anything I could in your room to not watch because I was terrified.
We ended up stopping playing it because I tried playing it and I got too scared too. I was like,
it was, oh my god, it was terrifying, man.
Man, remember when it was just so good that I could just walk up 2 flights and I'd be in your we could just
you go, hey Joe, man.
Hey Brian, what's up?
Yeah, those were the days.
Those were the days.
That's where our bond was forged in the projects.
Yes.
People won't understand if they didn't go to our school. They're not going to get the reference. Yeah. All right, Joe.
All right.
One more topic for us. Hit us with it.
I've kind of already forgot what the last topic is.
Remember that Epic Game Store has a new big game coming to it?
If you guys also haven't heard, Epic Games, the same bros that like to put out that Fortnite goodies, came out with their own store to combat the Steam store, which is a great thing. Steam does need some competitors. Hopefully, this can make Steam better. Maybe the Epic Store will become like a pretty nifty thing. But a big thing that happened was that they moved Metro Exodus from the Steam store to the Epic Game Store. So it's now an exclusive over at Epic Games, which wouldn't be a big deal if they hadn't been marketing and selling pre-orders on Steam for Metro Exodus. Like, it's just, what? You're going to pull the game off the
So
Steam?
for like the last 2 years, you could have bought it on Steam and no problem. And now, 3 weeks before the game comes out, you have to buy it on Epic.
Yes. But they are saying, Steam is saying that they are working with Metro Exodus to get them the codes so that they can play the game on the Steam and still get all the updates, because they pre-ordered the game on Steam and they still have the game. But I still think it's kind of weird that at the last minute Metro Exodus was like, now we're gonna be on Epic Games. Peace, Steam. Bye.
We're going with that Battle Royale money, Steam. Sorry.
Yeah, we're gonna go hang with Battle Royale for show.
So yeah, it is a little scummy. I will admit.
I'm sorry. I also forgot. The Division 2 is going to be on the Epic Games Store. Apparently, Epic Games picked up the Division 2.
What? Well. I thought Ubisoft had their own player.
Dude, I don't know what happened. I was just as shocked as you were.
That's ludicrous.
It is ludicrous. Epic Games is coming for all the goodies. They're coming for your wife, Joe Brown. Hide her. Oh, wait.
Well, I've got to find her before I can hide her.
Wait a minute, Joe Brown. Epic Games already stole it before you even got to her.
She's already on the store. So this is the official statement from Steam, which I think is it's very interesting as we look at it. So later today, sales of Metro Exodus will be continued on Steam due to publisher decisions to make the game exclusive to another PC store. Not even going to name it. The developer and publisher have assured us that all prior sales of the game on Steam will be fulfilled on Steam, and Steam owners will be able to access the game and any future updates or DLC through Steam. We think the decision to remove the game is unfair to Steam customers, especially after a long pre-sale period. We apologize to Steam customers that we were expecting it to be available for sale through the February 15th release date, but we were only recently informed of the decision and given limited time to let everyone know. Now, I do agree that it is scummy of Metro Exodus to do this. But if we're going to sit here with a straight face and talk about Steam thinking it's unfair that another game has like a monopoly on a game on PC Marketplace, I think that is very ironic.
This is true. But at the same time, Steam has worked with other game launchers in other times. Like, what was it? Watch Dogs 2. You could buy it on Steam, but it directs you over to the Ubisoft.
The Uplay thing.
The Uplay thing. And you still, like, Ubisoft still got some of that money, and Ubisoft still got a lot of the credit for it, and you still played on Uplay. All your achievements were through Uplay. None of them were through Steam. So there was that. Origin Games had a few games that ran from Steam to Origin. So I don't see why we couldn't have just done the same thing. Like, Blizzard's got their own thing. Bethesda came out with their own thing. That looks like it's doing fantastic. But like, they all got thrown back from Steam. You could buy it on Steam and it would bring you right back to the launcher. So I don't see like the biggest deal of it still being on Steam.
Right. It doesn't seem like it's actually hurting the people who bought it on Steam as of this point. It's only hurting the next week and a half because it comes out the 15th. I thought it was later. It comes out the 15th. So
yeah, it
doesn't actually change that much. I guess it changes like day of release word of mouth from reviews and things. It'll hurt Valve's bottom line there. But, like, if they've been hyping it for 2 years, like, they already got a bunch of people who pre-ordered it over the last 2 years, right?
True. True. Yeah, they might have. They like it's been a while. I've seen it. I've had it in my wish list for a while now. Now it's
Are you
not
gonna
there
get
anymore.
it? It's right next to Anthem. You're
Dog.
excited for Anthem.
Here's the problem. I already bought the collector's edition of it, so
Oh, Metro Exodus.
yeah,
So you don't even have a choice.
I don't. Have
Yeah,
it.
you better beat that in a week because you're gonna be pumped off Anthem.
We'll see if I'm pumped off Anthem. We'll find out. I'm away. I think I might wait a little bit for releases to hear about it.
And then the Division is a couple weeks after that. Division 2.
Yeah, we'll see about the Division.
You can go have some very unnatural scripted conversations with your friends playing the Division.
Yeah, I'm going around the side. Yeah, go around the side. Do it.
Oh, let's see what loot is in here. Like, oh my gosh, shut up. Hate those
Hey guys,
videos.
I found a box.
Yeah. What was the one with the plane when the plane crashed? Oh my god, what dumb quote did they say? Remember at E3?
I'm trying to remember.
Oh my god, I was so mad.
The one at E3 was a little bit better.
It was better than the original Division, but they still had some, like, it was like, looks like a rough landing or some crap like that. I was like, oh my god, that's not how human beings talk on the internet.
It is.
No.
That's how I talk on the internet.
I just see a comment on this Polygon article saying, once games become exclusive to one digital store, we have some problems ahead. It's the one reason I stopped playing Call of Duty and Battlefield. Just release the game on all digital storefronts. Let the buyer decide which library she wants their game in. If it's the 30% cut that's the issue, then include it in the cost for that store it's being hosted on. Bottom line, let the consumer decide. Stop taking away choices from the consumer. So their issue is not with the fact that Metro Exodus is being scummy and switching this late in the game over to Epic. They're upset with the fact that it is only available on one store.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, that's the world we live in, though. There's, Uncharted's not on Xbox, Halo's not on Sony, right? Like,
yeah, but they're trying to do exclusives on PC, which is stupid because a PC is a console by itself.
Right, but doesn't Steam have a gazillion exclusives because there was no other market for it? Like, there was no other contenders?
But, like, you could buy a lot of the games that are on Steam on other platforms. Like, you can buy all of the Bethesda games on the Bethesda store. You can buy a bunch of the games that are made from Origin on Origin store. You can buy Ubisoft's games on Ubisoft store. Like, it's like, it's not that Steam, like, had the monopoly over it. Steam had good deals. Like, you could buy stuff on Steam and it would be cheaper.
Right.
But like I said, if you did buy them on Steam, you also kind of had bought them on the other launcher because it would open up through that launcher, and you would get all of the things like through that launcher.
So you're saying that Steam is kind of like a necessary evil, that like it's not like it has to be there. We need something like it, because even if you're buying it, like it still does transfer it to the correct place, even if you buy it through Steam.
I'm not even saying
it's not a big deal.
I'm saying that Steam wasn't always just like it. At first, it was the only one.
Right.
But then other things started coming out, and the games were still available on those other platforms, on those other launchers and Steam. Like you could pick where to put your money. Like you didn't have to like only buy it on one thing and then have to play it on that thing. Like you could pick, oh, I'm going to buy this on the Ubisoft store. Oh, I'm going to buy this on Steam. Oh, I'm going to buy this on Origin. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like you had the option. But I don't know.
Well, Joe, I think this has been a great discussion, and I for one am very excited that we get to chat again.
Me too, Joe Brown. I'm glad to hear your voice.
I know it's not like I like call you all the time and ask what you're doing.
You do, and that's great too.
I do. I do have one question though before we go. What was your favorite Super Bowl commercial? Because those kind of suck too.
They did. But I would say my favorite. I don't even remember them that well. There was one that I thought was really funny that I can hardly remember. Run me through the commercials again.
Oh, jeez, I don't know. I'll tell you my favorite. My favorite was the football commercial with the ceremony, and they had all the football players. As the football falls off the cake, like, and they're all trying to pass and trying to intercept it and tackling each other.
I thought that one was fun.
I love that one.
The Pepsi one with Steve Carell. And the one with Little John. Whatever one had Little John in, that one was also good.
How about the chunky milk one?
Oh,
that was disgusting, dude.
She was chewing that milk. It was gross.
So, like, everyone in my house, they were like, like, we're screaming.
Yeah.
Disgusting.
And then there was one other one. I just had it. You made me forget it.
I'm sorry. Chunky milk got in the way.
Oh, it was the one that had 2 chains in it. Where he's like, I'm gonna need a paper receipt for all of these purchases for this music video.
Oh,
and he was like, oh, I use this app. He goes, what? And he's like, grrr! And he's like, made a noise at the end. He didn't even say anything. He just was like,
oh yeah, that was funny. Yeah, I think it was. What was the Doritos one? I can't remember.
There was no Doritos one.
No, there was a Doritos one. Where it had
one?
a new spicy something Dorito, where they took the old one and they're like, now it's spicy. Oh, what was that?
That one was funny.
Yeah, I can't remember now.
But I don't remember it.
Well, it doesn't matter, because yesterday was the worst day ever, because we didn't get Sweet Victory.
That's true. And the Pats won. Anyway, this has been another episode of Cup of Joes. I've been your host, Joe Parian.
You almost said Brown.
Yeah, I almost said Brown again. Accompanied by my good friend, Mr. Joe Brown. And we're going to catch you hopefully next week on another episode of Cup of Joes.
See you in 2 months. I'm just kidding. I'll see you next week, Joe.
I know. You had too long of a pause to say that.